Thank you for being here. How long is it going to take to identify these bodies?
It'll probably take a few days, DNA tests and so on. You want to be very careful before causing families anguish. There's a lot of questions about who exactly they might be. There is some suspicion about who they might be. And I think the fact that they're announcing they found the bodies strongly suggests that these are indeed the bodies of hostages.
How will officials go about identifying the bodies?
Uh, Dental records, DNA tests, and so forth. As I say, it'll take a couple days.
Considering it's been nearly a year since the start of the war, do you think that some of these bodies are the hostages?
Look, if the military says that they found these bodies, remember, tens of thousands of people have been killed in Gaza. We know the drill by now. It's extremely likely that these are indeed the bodies of hostages, and there is some speculation about whether some of them may be U.S. citizens as well. And we simply have to wait. Anything more that we say at this point risks, as I say, causing anguish to families.
And we don't know. We could say that these could be more Palestinians and it could be more civilian casualties. What would that say about Hamas?
I think it's pretty clear, Kelsey, that Hamas doesn't care about loss of life in Gaza. If they did, they would have hung up their spurs, 10 months ago. I mean, Hamas sparked this war. Hamas invaded Israel and massacred in an incredibly barbarian fashion 1,200 people, leaving Israel with little choice but to try to remove them from a position where they can threaten them any further. But of course, the war has been devastating. A lot of loss of civilian life as well, and there's a lot of criticism of how Israel has gone about trying to achieve these ends. But the ends, I think, are ones that the U.S. government supports and much of the world supports, because at the end of the day, you say, what does this say about Hamas? It basically says that Hamas is an enemy not just of Israel, but of the Palestinian people.
Well, let's talk about the foreign affairs of this all. Considering European nations, they've been very against some of Israel's moves. What do you have to say about foreign affairs?
Look, it's easy for other countries to comment on how a nation goes about pursuing what it sees as its strategic imperative and the need to defend its own citizens. I mean, did the U.S. consider foreign affairs when, after 9/11, they invaded Afghanistan and, in a way that was much less defensible, Iraq? They went ahead and did what they felt they must. Israel has done a version of the same. Now, I am a rather big critic of how Israel has comported itself in this war, and I think currently the government of Israel would be wise to prioritize a hostage deal and an end to the war rather than prolong it. And there are various political shenanigans in Israel that apply as well. And much of the Israeli opposition is convinced that the Israeli government is trying to prolong the war and get out of doing a hostage deal. All this is very complex and a little bit beside the point. And at the end of the day, Hamas clearly presented such a security risk to the citizens of Israel that, however much we may criticize the tactics of the war, the overall strategy of removing Hamas from power in Gaza is not indefensible.
We also know that the IDF, they've eliminated the head of Hamas. I mean, what does this mean for the terror group moving forward?
Well, the head of Hamas is replaceable. Ismail Haniyeh, the nominal head, was not really the head. He was a fake politician in Armani suits, living the good life in Qatar, and didn't really have command of Hamas's assets, which are control of the ground in Gaza, control of the Israeli and other hostages also in Gaza, and some command over Palestinian public opinion in Gaza and the West Bank. The man who was assassinated a month and some days ago, Ismail Haniyeh, didn't have those things. The new commander of Hamas, officially, is also the previous one unofficially, and that's Yahya Sinwar. He probably is in a tunnel in Gaza, surrounded by Israeli hostages as his life insurance policy, and seemingly more than willing to continue to condemn thousands of people, mostly Palestinians, to death while he pursues his ambition of creating chaos in the Middle East.
You know, I do want to show this because the Hostage and Missing Family Forum, they've issued a statement today about the bodies found, and they've said that Netanyahu abandoned the hostages. This is now fact. Starting tomorrow, the country will tremble. We will call the public to prepare. We will stop the country. Now, the families are also calling for a protest tomorrow. What exactly do you make of this statement?
It's not just the families. Much of Israel, probably most of Israel, believes that Netanyahu is looking for excuses to prolong the war and not do a hostage deal. Now, I have to say, in fairness, the hostage deal means that they get back the hostages but leave Hamas in power in Gaza, much diminished, tremendously degraded, but still in power in Gaza. Now, this is not an easy thing for the Israelis to contemplate, given what happened on October 7th. That is the deal in question. The hostage families believe that the deal is an obvious thing that should be done, and that Netanyahu is now coming up with more demands, specifically for Israel to control the Gaza-Egypt border, is a way to prevent the deal. And the reason to prevent a deal that ends the war is because it's understood in Israel that an end to the war would mean, finally, after 11 months, a political accounting for the debacle of October 7th, where Netanyahu's government failed on an intelligence level, on a tactical level, on a strategic level. It really is mind-bending how colossal that failure was. And every poll shows 70% of the people want him gone. So Netanyahu is, in their view, prolonging the war in order to delay the day of that accounting. That's what they mean. And if you buy their narrative, which I'm neither advocating nor discounting, but if you buy that narrative, then it means that Netanyahu, for political reasons, is allowing people to die just to cling to power. And there is a significant political movement in Israel that says they have to maximize within the bounds of what is legal in a democracy protest, which can include besieging the parliament, bringing the economy to a standstill, and doing everything they humanly and conceivably can to compel Netanyahu's small majority in parliament to abandon him and bring about new elections so that this all can end.
Still so many unanswered questions. You know, Dan Perry, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.